So welcome to my channel. Today we will create a linked list in C++. We will add a node at the start and at the end of a linked list. Also, I will delete all the nodes in a given linked list as well. So first, check out how the linked lists are formed in C++. What we have in a linked list is the head node type pointer variable, which points to the first node in a given linked list. And at the end of a given linked list, which is the end node in a linked list, the next node type pointer variable actually points to null, which actually tells us that the node points to nothing, also, which means that the linked list is finished. So in a node, in a given linked list, we have the data variable. Also, we have the node type pointer variable called next. It doesn't matter. We can call it next. We can call it PTR as well, which points to the next node in a given linked list, which points to the next node in the list. So the head node type pointer variable actually points to the first node in the list, which has the address of this first node, and this first node's next node type pointer variable has the address of this next node's address in the linked list. So let's form the linked list in C++. So adding a node at the end and at the beginning of a linked list. So what we have is actually the node. What do we have is a node which has a data, int or double or float, doesn't matter, int type variable called data, and the node type pointer variable called next, which holds the address of the next node in a node. Also, we have the linked list class, which holds the in a linked list. If we don't have any node yet, we have the head pointer variable, which points to the first node in a given linked list. If we don't have any nodes, in the list, which actually points to null. So we have a node type head pointer variable points to null at the beginning. So public member functions linked list constructor. In the linked list constructor, the head is set to null, which means that the linked list points to null at the start of the linked list. So we don't have any nodes yet. So let's say what do we want to do? Let's say push. We will push push end. Let's say we'll push the a data at the end of a linked list. Let's say int new node. We will push a node at the end of a given linked list. So let's say first we create a new node. Sorry, this will be new data. We will send the new data to a linked list, and that will be set to the given node. So we'll create a new node. So we will push a node at the end of a given linked list, at the end of a list. So which basically we need to look whether so if we don't have any node yet, so the head will basically will point to the first node in the list. So first this new node's data will be set to this new data, and so if push end, right? So if head is null, if head is null, if we don't have node, we don't have any nodes yet, if head is null, the head will be new node. So the head will point to this newly created node, and this new created nodes, if we push at the end of the linked list, this new nodes next will basically be null. Okay. If it's not null, which means if we have nodes in the list, what we're going to do is we will create a temporary node type pointer variable, and we will set this variable's address with the address of the head pointer variable, which will point to the first node in the list. So we will check whether we can actually reach at the end of the linked list. So we will check for while this temps next is not null, while this temps next is not null, we will actually temp will be temps next. So, and then the temp will be set to. So what this code actually does is that it actually traverses the linked list, and so first we set the node type temp variable will be set to the address of the head pointer variable, so it points to this node, and then if this temp next is not null, which means if we have other node in the list, the temp will be set to this temps next. So the temp will be set to this node next, which means it will point to this node. It will be like this until it goes to the last node in the linked list. So in the last node, if temps next is not null, temp becomes a temps next, so it points to its node. If temps next is not null, which means temps next is not null, in this case it's null, you see. So this code will not work. So we found the last node actually in the list. Now this temps next is actually will be set to new node. So this temps, so this new last nodes next will point to our new node address, and our new node next will point to null. So this is pushing at the end of a list. So we can also print the elements in the list. So let's check out whether so node type temp, okay. If this temp is not null, if this temp is not null, what we're going to do is that, which means that if temp is not null, which means we have nodes in the list. So we'll say that the list elements are, and then while this temp is not null, we will actually look for the data of these elements, and then the temp will be temps next. Temp will be temps next. Then we can actually go the other line as well. If temp's null, if the other way around, the list is empty. So yeah, this is for printing the elements in the list. Let's try, actually, this is probably the end of the class. Okay. Oops. So yeah, let's try. Linked list, my list, let's say, and my list dot linked list, right? It's my list linked list, my list prints. This is pushes at the end. So linked list push end 10, let's say, and also my list push end 20, let's say, and let's say my list that print, right? Adding at the, let's say, linked lists. This is the linked list constructor. Okay. So yeah, 10 and 20 actually has been set as the nodes in the linked list. So my list dot, let's say, push and 30. So yeah, as you see, we have 1, 20, and 30. We pushed them at the end. So let's say at the beginning, let's push at the push beginning. This new data will be set, and so we will actually create a new node. So to push a node at the start of a linked list, what do we want to do? So actually, let's imagine that we have a linked list like this: head, node 1, node 2, node 3, and node 4, and let's say we have null. So let's say we want to add a new node here, okay? So this new node next will point to the address of the head, because head points to this node 1. This new node next will point to this node, so head points to this node. So new node next will set to the head, and the head will set to the new node. So what we're going to do now is that this new node's data, first of all, will be set to new data, and this new nodes next will actually be set to the head. Head was pointing to this node, and now this node actually is pointing to this node. So this new nodes next will set to the head, and the head will be new node. So new node's address will be set to head, and the head will point to this new node now. So this actually pushes at the beginning of a linked list. So let's say my list push beginning 5, let's say. So what do we expect? 5, 10, 20, 30, right? 5, 10, 20, 30. Yeah. We can also actually delete all the nodes in the list. Let's say delete all nodes. Int. To delete the nodes, what do we need? First of all, we will create a node type temp pointer variable called head. It will node type pointer variable temp will store the address of the head, and then while head is not null, what do we do is that we'll actually delete all these nodes. This head will point to the heads next. The head will point to this. Now what do we do is that temp actually will hold the address of the head first. Head will point to the heads next. Head is now pointing to the heads next, which head was pointing to this. Now the head is pointing to the heads next, which points to this. And we free the stamp from the memory, so we deleted all the elements in the list. So let's say my list, delete all nodes. The list is empty, as you can see. So we printed it, and we've seen that the list is empty now. So yeah, I think today we've looked at adding an element at the start and at the end of the list. Also, we deleted all the nodes in the given linked list. So in the next video, I will actually show you how to add a node at a given location in the linked list. Also, we will actually look for the stacks and queues in C++. I will actually try to teach you. Also, I will also practice by telling you, by actually showing you how C++ works, and I will learn along the way as well. So thank you for watching me. See you soon. Bye.